The things that trigger you in life are actually, they're gifts, right? They say life will present you with people and circumstances to reveal where you're not free. What is that pointing to? Where are you in some sort of invisible prison, deep in the recesses of what I call your subconscious, that is now being triggered because somebody said something or somebody did something? So if we have somebody who's willing to play, is there something here that someone has recently been triggered by, preferably today?
I'll be transparent. I did a hot yoga class in Culver City with my roommate, and I like a more zen work. I like to work out hard, but she likes a very hard workout where I'm like, I want zen and hard workout. And the whole time, I know her very well. I've known her for like a decade plus. And the whole time, all I could focus on was, I feel like she wasn't getting a good workout the whole time. Because I'm a people pleaser. I know all your work. I know all the things you're about to say.
Don't get too presumptuous now. I might have got some new work since
right.
you last
Yeah,
had me.
I'm ready. I've listened to a lot of your stuff, so I'm ready for a new
Okay,
answer.
so your roommate's not working out hard enough.
No, she's working out hard, and I'm thinking I brought her to a class because I said, she's such a good this instructor's great. Like, you're going to get a sweat on. I just see her face, and I feel like she's not, flinching and not struggling, and I'm like, not that I want her to struggle, I just was
But kind of
focused.
a little bit.
I just was like, I want to get her ass kicked a little bit and be like, yeah, that was a great workout. But I know your work, and all I kept doing was, why am I so bothered by her needing to get that experience that I want her to have? Instead of, I kept trying the whole time, just go, focus on your workout.
Yeah.
Focus on your workout.
So what is the answer to your own question?
Focus on you.
No, well, that wasn't the answer to the question, though, right? What was the question? Why am I so focused on her? So what is the why for you?
Probably just she's a big energy, and I want to make sure she's good, because then it makes me feel safe.
Ah, did you hear that? So
I know his stuff. I know where this is
what's
going.
that?
I said, I know your work. I know where this is going.
You're like, shit, why did I put my hand up? Yeah, so it looks like you want her to get a good workout, but the underlying intention is?
For me to feel safe. It's selfish. For me to feel safe.
So where's the evidence for you that you wouldn't feel safe if she didn't have a good workout?
She didn't get a good workout out of it. Would be
Right,
my
but you said
evidence.
she's got big energy, right? So
Yes.
I'm starting to put the pieces together myself pretty quickly here.
I know. Mm-hmm.
You're trying to, very subtly, not so subtly, manipulate a situation for your
100%.
own benefit.
100%.
Not that any of you do that.
No.
Especially not with your spouses.
I'm very familiar with your language, so I'm like, yeah.
You're right.
Yeah.
So this is such a beautiful example, right? It's like it's an innocent yoga class. But what you really see is at play is here a beautiful person who's willing to contribute to this group, and hopefully you'll all benefit from this. But what she's really up to is she's trying to manipulate her roommate, who she really cares about.
I do.
No, I know you do. Listen, we're all fucked. Don't worry about
But
it.
I know, all I can say.
Everyone does the same shit.
I
It's just, it helps if you can see it, so
Yeah.
you can be honest about it.
Yeah.
So let's go back. So, okay, she's got big energy. You're giving me enough information. That's a bit of a tell. And you don't feel safe. So why is it you don't feel safe?
It's familiar. It's from somebody in my past. And
Right,
there's a
but
lot
what
more
does she
there.
represent that's familiar from your past?
Just a parent that if I only feel safe to the degree to which that person's happy or not, or getting the results they want, because their needs are more important.
That's
for
how
the
you.
safety
That's how
aspect.
you saw
For
it.
my experience, yes.
So that person who was big was a care provider, a parent, you said?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. And so when do you first remember experiencing that lack of safety? Approximately how old?
Pretty little on, probably.
Yeah, so they were like loud, they threw things, right. So in the space of noise, you feel unsafe. Is everyone tracking here? Because this is everyday example, right? Perfect. Okay, so now no surprise to me that you've attracted a roommate who has certain qualities that represent. By the way, for any of you not sure, you are, quote unquote, attracting the people that are those care providers that you're still reconciling the things you're not okay with. So your roommate, big energy, that tells me a lot, represents the same kind of energy of your care provider. And so, of course, you would set it up so that you have that person in a very close proximity, because what are you actually working on?
Just replicating the same environment I grew up in.
So that you can work on what?
Getting away from it, or
Well, that's what you're trying to do. And one of the ways you're trying to get away from it is go to a hot yoga class and make sure that your roommate gets a serious workout. I'm surprised you haven't started drugging her.
You were in my head the whole time going, it's separate. Like,
Right.
it's just focus on you.
Well, the beautiful thing about it, and listen, you're being such a good sport here. The separation is actually you with you, right? It looks like you're trying to separate you from her, but actually the real betrayal is to the part of you that just feels scared. And I want you to consider, this is for all of you, the first primordial wound, as far as I'm concerned, as a young kid, is that you betray yourself. The reason you betray yourself, we all do, is because we make a contract unspoken that is to the care providers, if you keep me safe, I will behave in the way that I think you want me to behave. The emphasis on I think. Now, do you really get that? Because that is so pivotal in the start of how you generated your own idea of yourself. The good boy, the bad boy, the good girl, the bad girl, whatever you thought you had to be in order to make sure that you don't get excommunicated from the family, because if that happens based on primal DNA, you get kicked out into the jungle and you don't make it. Right? So here's a beautiful young girl, she's scared, ex-parent makes a lot of noise, and from that moment forth, she felt that if there's a lot of noise around her, she's not safe. Can you see those two get collapsed? Did anything ever happen to you that was potentially life-threatening in that situation?
I mean, maybe when I was younger and couldn't digest that it wasn't safe, but it probably, I mean, I was probably safe, but in that moment I couldn't have digested it.
I'm going to suggest you can get rid of the probably, because my question is about life-threatening, right? Because there are certain people, I mean, I've helped people who literally are, somebody's coming at them with a knife, right? Like it's a serious situation. What I hear is there was just a lot of noise, you're a little girl and you're scared. So now whenever you quote unquote hear the same, a lot of noise, or someone seems a little bit overbearing or is powerful or dominant or maybe even a little bit forceful, you go straight into that energy.
Yeah, it's hard to shake for sure.
Right, yeah, you start actually to feel scared. So now what you can see is the separation is from that part of you that is actually asking for you to create safety for her, whether you call it your inner child or the inner dialogue or the conversation. But where you're looking, and I'll tell a little story which is cute, where I heard this a long time ago, but it's like a guy's walking down the sidewalk, it's late at night, it's dark, and this woman's on all fours, sort of swiping or, not swiping.
Searching.
What's the word? Stroking?
Stroking.
Stroking? No,
Grazing.
it's not the right word.
Grazing?
Sweeping's better.
Sweeping.
We got the right first letter. Sweeping, caressing the sidewalk. And he says he gets closer, he's like, okay, like she's clearly like looking for something. It seems that like, did you lose something? It looks like you're looking for something. She said, yeah, I dropped my contact lens. He's like, okay, well, I'm happy to help if I can. She'd be, that's great. And he said, do you remember at least roughly where you kind of had it when maybe you lost it? And she's like, yes, I think, because it was in my hand as I got out of the car, and I think it fell out as I got out of my car. He's like, awesome, that's a good start.
Right.
Where's your car? She said, it's on the other side of the street. And he's like, okay, so then why are you over here looking? She said, it's so much easier to see under the street lamp. Right? So it's so much easier if I can manipulate my roommate so she's fucking exhausted after a hot yoga class, so she doesn't
And
have
she
all
can
of this
feel it.
boisterous energy, so that I can feel safe. All the while, what are you reinforcing?
The need to feel safe, then I'm already
Well,
safe.
the need to feel safe is the adaptation, but
Yeah.
what are you actually reinforcing?
That I'm not safe.
Correct.
Right.
And what is it like to walk around in a world where you feel you're not safe?
It's tiring. I know this as a truth, but it is hard to shake. Okay? It's very hard to break this.
It is, because it's not something to shake. Who here, and again, I know this is a new crowd, but I want you to consider this is family, right? Like one of the things that I pride myself on is really coming from a place of true unconditional love with no judgment. There's no one here as a human being on planet Earth who doesn't have their own foibles and their own imperfections and their fears. So who here can relate to feeling not safe? Chances are, you know, the majority of you women, I apologize on behalf of every man that's ever lived, because, you know, it's been centuries worth of abuse, right? So you have every right to feel not safe. So it's a very human and beautiful part of the fabric of how we design ourselves, right? So in trying to get rid of it, and even further under the street lamp, trying to manipulate your roommate, all you're doing is actually reinforcing that that is your reality. So it's scary, it's exhausting. Are there other ways that you tend to cope? Can you see that if you're in the world of not safe, other ways that you maneuver around the world, different guys you attract, jobs you take, times a day you leave the house, don't leave the house?
It's probably just with like certain personalities. If it's a big energy, like I will act a certain way. Like even on the way home, like I wanted to go get coconut water at the store, but I was like, I don't want to make her. I know she has to go back to work, so I just want to take her back to work. Like and in my head, I was like, no, go get the coconut water. Like your needs are important. This sounds so petty. I promise, I'm not.
Listen. You have no idea how powerful what you just said is, and I promise you, every single person in this space right now has their equivalent story.
Yeah.
It might not be their roommate, it might not be around noise, but it's something to do with their husband, their wife, their kids, their mom, their dad, their brother or sister, right?
Yeah. You win sometimes and sometimes you don't. So it's all.
Well, I like to think I win most of the times because I don't do that. But yes.
I think you are.
Yes. Yeah, it's another way that we protect ourselves by saying you, right? Because it's a way that you're betraying yourself, and you just perfectly demonstrated what I was talking about. This betrayal is you're willing to sacrifice yourself, in this case, something that we could argue is way more important, which is self-hydration, self-care, wellness, for the pending doom of somebody getting upset.
Yeah.
You know, I had a friend once who said, I'll do everything I can to avoid confrontation. I said, for that reason, you're in a constant state of confrontation.
Right. Yeah.
You get that? Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So listen, you're being such a trooper, and this is I'm so grateful because it's through these everyday mundane, going to get coconut water, going to a yoga class, that we start to see what it is like to be human and how we, in ways that we're not even aware of, live in a world of suffering, this space, the mind. So you're living in a world, in the space, nothing but pure opportunity, and I would assert absolute infinite possibility. Yeah. But the world you're actually living in, one of the 10 prisons, is I'm not safe. And for justified reasons. It's not even you're a bad person. Right. But it's hard to kick, or you said, or it's tough to get rid of. So what might be another way to approach it, as opposed to trying to get rid of it?
Just softening to it, or just
I guess you don't have kids, right? I'm guessing.
No.
Do you have aspirations to be a mom?
I'm in the middle.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm in the middle.
Don't know if that works.
30s.
But like half a kid, or don't like it, give it back.
3 days a week, you know.
Something right. That works. You just have to get married and then divorce.
No, I'm trying not to do that.
Got a lot ahead of you. Okay, great. So let's just say, do you have a niece, or you have friends who have a little girl, maybe somewhere you know, or you've seen movies with kids. You know what kids are.
I do. I am. Like a kid still. I'm 30.
So I'm going to guess if you're someone who's sufficiently willing to give up her own need for something like peace, hydration from coconut water, that you're a very caring, sweet soul. So my guess is, if you had a dear friend of you, and you got to know her daughter, who was very sweet, and you babysat because you wanted to help out because you're a good human, and that little girl was scared because she heard a noise outside, so she felt not safe, the emotion being associated with fear or being scared, what might be your approach to her if you're taking care of her?
Comforting and saying it's okay.
Yeah, so you wouldn't necessarily want to try and get rid of her.
No.
What were you trying to do with your knowledge? Yeah, it's tough to kick this kid who's scared. Especially as it's my friend's kid. Right, that doesn't look good. Yeah. Do you see, like, it all seems so well intended, right? That we think, oh, well, this hurts and I don't like this feeling, so I'm trying to get rid of it. And I want you to consider, all of you, that the actual beauty of stepping into what I call freedom is that we make space for all of it.
Right, right.
There's a beautiful, actually, I think I just took a screenshot today. How about that for timing?
Wow.
Golly, I'd manifest so beautifully. There's a quote by Rumi that actually speaks to this. I promise you this was not predetermined or prepared. It's called The Guest House. I literally screenshotted this today. This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness, some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your home empty of its furniture. Still treat each guest honorably. He may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice, meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond.
Yep.
Isn't that cool?
Yeah.
So, what might be a new way that you could relate to your guest house, the space that is your mind, and you have a current resident who just happens to be there for like 90% of your life apparently, who is feeling scared.
Yeah.
What might be a different approach to that particular story, that dialogue?
That it's not a truth, and that I am safe, and that it's about.
So let's slow down a little bit. There's nothing that's not inaccurate, but what might be, using the example of you're babysitting your friend's beautiful, cute little daughter who's scared, what might be the approach to that part of you that had a care provider who was very loud that made you scared? What might now be this new guest that you have that you're aware of in this beautiful guest house called your mind?
That it's okay, and the guest is just a little girl trying to feel safe and get her needs fulfilled. And it's okay to have the feelings of being scared.
Yeah. Say that a little louder for everybody.
It's okay to feel scared. We're all scared.
Yeah. And listen, this is so beautiful that you happen to be the one with the mic, isn't it? Does everyone get that? Does everyone just get what's happening here? Like, no one would begrudge her if she was the last one, if everyone had to say something and share an intimate sort of vulnerability. With that particular way that she relates to life, everyone would have some compassion, go, okay, yeah, you go last, get some confidence, but here she is. I think it's just so beautiful, and I really acknowledge you for the courage, because I hope, that through your example, everyone can vicariously see their own version, and many people are going to have the same one. Even at the beginning, I said, what is the mind? Who here, just being vulnerable, who here, when I said who wants to tell me what the mind is, you just felt like you didn't want to put your hand up because you're a bit nervous, or well, that's not going to work because now you're going to be nervous and not put your hand up. No, who here can just be honest and say you kind of didn't want to put your hand up because you're in a group? Right? I mean, it's human, it's okay. I can remember the first time I stood in front of a group of, 60, 70 baseball players who were commanding over $200 million, and I'm a bloke from England who's never played baseball, and I'm supposed to be charged with their mental wellness. I'm like, what the fuck am I going to tell these guys? And so, hello, I play cricket. Very similar, throw a ball, jolly good shot. So it's okay, So what happens is, if you can make space for that part of you, not only do you let go of the exhausting need to try and control your environment, your roommate, the hydration, the da-da-da, but you go, oh, hello, I'm human. And as part of being human, there is a part of me that's intrinsically natural to the psyche of anyone who's maybe concerned for their survival.
Yeah. Well, I always hear you say, it's okay. That's just the slogan I've taken. It's okay.
It's totally okay.
Yeah.
It's not only okay, it's beautiful. And I would assert, here's the really powerful thing for you to recognize. Are you in an intimate relationship now, a romantic relationship? Mm-mm. No, and again, this is a bold statement, but I would assert she doesn't have space for one. You really get what I said? Because if she can't even communicate with her roommate, who first of all is another woman, and again, she may be boisterous, a lot of energy, women listen really well and generally are naturally compassionate, then if she's living in a world where she's not safe, and particularly as the archetype who represented the noise and the boisterousness that made her feel scared was the masculine, then there's already like some sort of dialogue about her relative to a man, particularly if he's a powerful man. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. And yet she's beautiful, kind, sweet, contributing to this group in a way that she didn't know and you didn't know. And there's just an opportunity that's being missed because she's living in this tight space called I'm not safe. Do you see that? And I want you to consider, in such a beautiful way that you shared with us tonight, that your belief that you're not safe, and it's beyond a belief, it's deeper, it's just the you that you are for yourself, the way that it informs your thoughts, feelings, and actions that we've heard, is suffocating the life you are. Where are you from?
I was born in Palos Verdes, California.
Great. Can I take you through a very quick exercise?
Yes.
Great. So if I were to cut you open, literally, am I going to find a physical manufacturing label, like of choice of materials, whatever you want, wood, metal, that says on it, born in California, she's not safe?
No.
No, I'm not, right? I'll find a bunch of DNA and da-da-da and blood and bones.
Right.
Great. So where does the I'm not safe exist then?
The mind.
Where in the mind?
Yes.
So if it's in your mind, what is its format? What is I'm not safe made up of?
Feelings, thoughts.
They're the byproducts, thoughts, yeah. And what are thoughts, if we would be more general? What are thoughts?
Words.
Words, yeah. So I want you to consider that I'm not safe that actually dictates the actions you take, and the things that betray the choices and the things that you aspire to actually create in your life is based in words. And to get it even more down to the semantics and to the actual structure, it's sound.
Yeah.
You know, this is LA, you're all spiritual, right? We're vibratory beings. You want to understand the universe, think in terms of frequency, energy, and vibration. Tesla, right? So get this. You live with a person who I'm sure adores you in her own way,
Yeah.
and that you adore, but you are being constrained by sound.
Yeah.
Do you get that? Like, that's bonkers. When I realized the things I was doing, and I was doing some pretty stupid shit, you know, with all the compassion to my scared little boy. My parents died. Like, I was so scared of loss, and I had to be the perfect boyfriend. I'm exhausted, all the things.
Right.
Was because of sound.
I know.
And it's suffocating the life that is available to you on the other side of that. And it's not your fault. That's where the compassion comes in. So let me ask you another question. It's not a manufacturing label. So if it's in your mind in the form of sound, words, is it a truth? And you can only answer yes or no. And you kind of know this, but now I want you to feel it. Is it an absolute truth that who you are is not safe?
No.
It's not, is it? So now, this is all new, and if you're playing along and really staying with me, what would become available for you if you lived in the world where you're not, and listen very carefully, it's a double negative, you're not safe. I'm not saying you are safe. That has all sorts of different connotations.
Yeah.
But you're definitely not safe. The limitation, the world you lived in, just crumbled.
Yeah, it's opportunity.
Well, how would you feel in a world where you can't feel not safe?
Liberated.
Liberated.
Yeah. A little, whew.
Is that better than how you arrived?
Oh, yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Who could follow along with that, right? And I said, if you could leave here with a bit more freedom, that's exactly what we just did. And she played along, and this was quite quick. But I want you to really consider that the world you live in is entirely your own. It's your own creation. It's not a truth. You may have evidence for it, particularly in this case from your childhood, but it's got nothing to do with you being in a car with a friend going to maybe get some coconut water or being in a yoga class.
Yeah.
And I want you to also consider it would not only liberate, but it would give you so much more energy, so much more creativity, and it would open up the manifestation of things that you couldn't possibly access when you're living in this confined world.
Yeah. It's hard to break.
That to me is pretty cool,
It's amazing.
if you're into that.
For sure.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
There's a perfect example of how, you know, as human beings, we, in ways that we aren't aware of, and for which reason we can have so much compassion for ourselves, we walk around thinking that we're in the world. But I want you to consider that you're not in the world, you're in your world. And it's your world you're up against. You know, the old cliches, the only person that's, sabotaging your life is yourself. You know, the you that you are for yourself is the obstacle to the very things that you want. So who here has an obstacle that they want to get beyond? Yes. Yes.